For years, I've been panicking about my financial situation, even when I had money sitting in my bank account. And that's the scary part, because on the outside, it looked like I was okay, but on the inside, I was constantly living with the feeling of lack. And it's a hard feeling, like something is missing, like it's never enough for me, like there's always lack. And honestly, I stayed in that state for years until 2023. A woman reached me out and she wanted to work with me, to have some sessions, and we started talking about my services. But then she began to negotiate. She was negotiating over a $10 session. So I told her, you know what? Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I'll give you the session for free. All I asked for back then was a testimonial that you can share about the session. And her response was, okay, I'll think about it. Can you imagine that? That moment hit me hard because I realized something very uncomfortable. This was never about how good or bad my services was. And I was skeptical back then. So it had nothing to do with my skills. I needed to convince myself with that. My knowledge isn't the problem or even the value I was offering. It was about my internal state around money. And that is the thing what I needed back then to understand. And the truth is, my financial struggle didn't stop after that. It actually continued until I started see things differently. That was when I began studying the work, the art of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I came across a very powerful lessons that completely shifted my financial reality. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 lessons that I learned through my financial growth journey based on Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings. And not just that, I'm also going to walk you through the 12 practical steps that helped me to 10x my income and that I now apply with my one-on-one clients in the individual sessions inside my 12-week coaching and healing program, Rewriting Your Financial Destiny. So, if you've been feeling stuck financially or doing everything right, but still not seeing results, this might completely change how you see money and how you create it. And this is the most important part. Here's the thing. As long as you are here on planet Earth, money isn't optional. It's one of the main factors that allows you to provide a good life for yourself and for your family. But here's the problem. Most people are chasing money instead of attracting it. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, when you are living in a survival, that's not a time to create. And this leads us to the first lesson that I learned. When you are waiting, you are not creating. No matter how much money you have in your bank account, if you are still valuing yourself based on that number and waiting for something outside to happen, to finally happen, so you can feel wealthy, so you can feel that you're abundant, then you're making one of the biggest mistakes that actually pushes money away from you. Because in the old model of reality, what we call the 3D model of reality, we are taught to wait. We wait for something to happen outside, and then we allow ourselves to feel when it's happening. But in the different model, what some call the quantum model of reality, it's the exact opposite. You don't wait to feel, you feel, then things start to happen in your life, in your reality. And this naturally takes us to the second lesson. Emotions are the key. No matter what you're doing, and no matter how you're doing it, if the right emotions aren't there, nothing really changes. You can take action, you can plan, you can do marketing strategy, you can even say the right words inside of your mind, but without the emotional state that matches what you want, everything stays the same. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotions, that's where things start to shift. That's when the magic happens. That's where people call what is happening magic, and magic actually begins for them. And I'm not saying this as a theory, I'm saying this from a deep experience, because for years I kept saying I want to be a financially free, I want to be abundant, I want to make thousands and thousands and thousands every month, but millions, but nothing was really happening. Nothing changed. Do you want to know why? Because I was saying the words without feeling them until I started to actually feel. Feel the emotions of abundance. Feel the emotions of freedom, the emotions of joy, the emotions of like the event has already happened. That's when things started to move for me. And this is exactly the kind of work I go deeply into with one-on-one clients in the individual sessions inside the Rewriting Your Financial Destiny program. You can find the link down below. Click the link, book your free call, where we don't just think differently, we train your body to feel differently so you can attract to whatever you want. And this leads us to the third lesson that I learned, and I want to share it with you. Never ever cancel your food order. Let me explain this. Imagine you just ordered food. You're hungry. You're waiting. You want to eat. And few minutes pass. Then more time passes and the delivery guy is knocking on your door. He still hasn't arrived yet. So what do? You cancel the order. Now, let me ask you, how on earth are you going to receive food? Are you going to eat after you just canceled it? It doesn't make sense, right? But this is exactly what most people are doing with their lives. Let me tell you how. You're asking for a car. You're asking for money. You are asking for a partner. But because nothing is happening yet, you start to doubt. You become skeptical. You lose certainty. You lose faith. And right there, you're canceling your order. Your order is canceled by your emotions. And that is exactly what low frequency emotions do to your clear intention. Fear, doubt, impatience, they interrupt your process and disconnect you from what you asked for. Because if you were truly hungry, you wouldn't cancel the order. You would wait with certainty, knowing it's on the way, knowing it's going to arrive. And this is the thing that I constantly see with my clients inside rewiring and rewriting your financial destiny program. We don't just set intentions, we train you to hold them without canceling them emotionally. And this takes us to the next lesson, the fourth one: elevated emotions are the magnet. Whenever you have a clear intention, you need to feel the emotions of the event as if it has already happened. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings, thoughts are the electrical signal and emotions are the magnetic one. So, I want you to focus here. What does what does that actually mean? I want you to focus because it means that your thoughts alone aren't enough. It's the combination between your thoughts and your feelings what creates what you really want. They together create a signal, an electromagnetic signal. So, feeling grateful for what you already have does increase your chances of receiving it, but or receiving more. But there is something deeper. Feeling grateful for what you want as if it has already happened, that changes the game, that changes everything. That state is what aligns you with the experience before it even arrives. And from my experience and from working with my clients inside the 12-week rewriting your financial destiny program that you can find its link down below in the description, this is one of the most powerful shifts we do, especially around week 6. It's genuinely starts to feel like magic. And this brings us to the fifth and final lesson in this video. You need to have a clear intention so that elevated emotion become easier to generate, become easier to be felt. Most people don't actually know what they want. They say we want things, but deep down inside of them, they don't really feel them. They maybe don't really want them or even define them clearly. They fail doing that. So let me ask you something. What do you really want? Why do you want it? What is the exact amount of money you want to manifest? What picture comes to your mind when you think about it? And what does it actually mean for you to have it? Because answering these questions gives you something most people never have: clarity. And clarity is what creates direction. It gives your mind something to focus on, and your emotions something to attach to. Without it, you're just randomly wishing with some trying to make emotions. But when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, that's when things starts to align. And this is exactly what I work on with my clients inside my 12-week program, Rewriting Your Financial Destiny, where we don't just talk about money. We rebuild the entire internal system that creates your financial reality. And this naturally leads us into the real process of how I actually work with my clients step by step. So if you hear it, you can apply it. Week 1, we go deeply into your specific financial goal. How much money do you actually want to manifest? What is the exact amount of money you want to see in your bank account? We don't leave it like not clear, it should be clear. We make it accurate and clear because clarity creates the direction. Then we work on something even more important. We set that clear intention, not a wish, not a hope, but defined internal decision. After that, we start identifying your limiting beliefs, thoughts, the patterns, the unconscious stories that you carry about money, and we don't just observe them, we rewrite them in a way that actually supports your goals instead of blocking it, because when your beliefs shift, your perception shifts. And when your perception shifts, your behavior starts to change. This is where we begin to retrain your mind and start the process of rewiring your internal system of abundance. And this is just the beginning, because in week 2 we start shifting your internal state by tuning in to the abundance frequency. This is where our work becomes more experimental for you, less about thinking and more about feeling. You're gonna experience it. We begin to activate and stabilize elevated emotions like wealth, like abundance, safety, gratitude, freedom, not just as ideas, but as real internal states you can actually access and hold. Because when your nervous system starts to recognize these states, they stop feeling foreign for you and start feeling familiar. And that familiarity is what begins to rewire your identity from survival into abundance. This is where the internal shift starts becoming real, not just conceptual, but real. And in week 3, we move into a much deeper level, where we work on your subconscious mind through a guided hypnotic state, hypnotic meditation. I do it for you. I help you step by step to feel your new self as an internal identity shift. We go beyond your conscious thinking, analytical mind, and start accessing the deeper layers of your mind where beliefs are actually stored. And from there, we begin installing new beliefs that are aligned with the new version of you, the version who already has what you're working toward. It's not about forcing change, it is about making the new state of feeling natural and familiar to you. And integrated, this is where you familiar and integrated. This is where your identity literally transform. Week 4, we work on self-love and learning how to truly love your life. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, you should love the life you live so you can create the life you love. Because love is one of the highest elevated emotions, and it plays a massive role in your manifesting journey. So, in this week, we don't just joke about love, we practice it. Loving yourself, loving your life, loving your future, and even accepting your past. And when you enter that state, even for a moment, something shifts internally. Shifts internally because in the exact moment you're no longer reacting to life, you are creating it, because you are the creator of your life. Week 5. Building on that, we move into a deeper layer of connection. This is where we focus on making peace and making alignment with something greater than you. Whether you are spiritual, religious, or not, it doesn't really matter because the idea here is simple. There is a force, a presence, a power moving within you and all around you. You can call it many things: the divine, the quantum field, the infinite mind, the unconditional love, God, Lord, Allah, whatever its name is. You have to resonate with it. You have to feel it. At that point, when you experience it, you'll begin to tune into that presence. You start to feel something different, a sense of trust, flow, unconditional love. And from that state, you're no longer operating from fear or lack. You are operating from expansion, wholeness, and in that state of alignment, things begin to open up in your external reality, including opportunities, resources, and yes, money. Because when you are in flow, you are no longer resisting life, you are moving with it, and it's moving through you. Week 6, we move into forgiveness. This is where the work becomes deeply emotional and deeply freeing and releasing. Forgiveness isn't about the other person, it is about you. It is about creating space inside your mind, inside your heart, and your nervous system, a space that has been occupied for too long by anger, resentment, and emotional weight. And when you begin to let go, something important happens. You start opening a new psychological space inside of you and new energetic space inside of you, because holding on keeps your system heavy, but releasing brings clarity. And when your mind becomes clearer and your emotional state becomes lighter, you naturally rise into a more elevated state where you are no longer stuck in the past, but available for what you actually want to create. And from that place, you begin to synchronize more easily with joy. You will begin to synchronize with your financial goals and moving into those direction. Week 7, we go deeper into emotional release. As I mentioned before, emotions are the magnet force. They are what give energy, direction, and attraction to your intention. And just like we said earlier, low frequency emotions are canceling your order. So in this week, we work on releasing them again, but on a deeper level. Fear, doubt, disbelief, hesitation, we start clearing them all, clearing them out, not by suppressing them, but by transforming your relationship with them. And as we release, we intentionally tune into a higher state: love, gratitude, appreciation for life, care for others, abundance, freedom, joy, love again. And when these emotions start building inside you, they begin to form a kind of internal field, a magnetic field that becomes stronger and stronger over time, like a real force, similar to what holds a system together. And at that center of it is something very simple. You're opening your heart, because when your heart open, it's like your internal sun is shining. This brain and heart coherence is exactly what we work on week 8, because as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, And his research shows when your brain and heart become coherent, you enter a very powerful state, a state where thought and emotion are no longer scattered but aligned, because thoughts are the electrical charge and emotions are the magnetic charge, and when these two become coherent, they form a strong electromagnetic signal. And that signal is what begins to attract new experiences to your life, new opportunities, and new possibilities into your reality. This is the state we begin to train on week 8. Week 9, this is 9, balancing your energy centers. And what I mean by that is understanding that your body isn't just physical, it has internal center of processing, each one influencing how you think and how you feel and how you act. Each of those centers have its own intelligence, its own neural patterns, its own way of responding to life. And when these systems are out of balance, your energy becomes scattered, your focus becomes unstable, and your results become inconsistent. So in this week, we bring everything back into alignment. We work on regulating, stabilizing, and harmonizing your internal system. And once that balance is established, we begin programming these centers to align with your financial goal, not as forced mental effort, but as a full body alignment process, because when your internal system is coherent, your actions become aligned without resistance, and from that state, manifestation feels less like effort and more like momentum. This is why I call it a manifesting booster, because everything starts working together instead of working against itself. Week 10. We move into a deeper state of surrender and connection with that force. This is where we make contact, a real contact with the divine, and consciously enter into a new state of dialogue and trust with Him, not from a place of control, but from a place of openness, of peace. We begin to let go of the need to figure everything out, and instead of that, you ask Him for guidance. We ask Him to help us get rid of our limitations. And I want you to know that this is actually the right thing to do, because He will help you to get rid of your limitations and achieve your goals in the right way for you, for your life, for your greater good. And then we move to week 11 into a deep energetic and psychological cleansing. At that stage, we start working on clearing what has been stored for years, not just thoughts, but emotional patterns and internal blockages, energetic ones. We use multiple methods to help you release what no longer serves you, what you no longer want. Old fears, old identity layers, old emotional imprints, not by forcing them away, but by allowing them to dissolve through awareness, release, and repatterning. Because when you clear your internal space, you naturally create room for something new to emerge. And from this perspective, we say that you are opening the path for abundance from a deeper level of conscious deeper level of that consciousness, not by chasing it, but by removing what was blocking your ability to receive. And finally, we go into week 12. We move into a very subtle and powerful stage. This is where we begin to tune into new potentials, potentials that already exist for you, but haven't been expressed yet. You can think of it as possibilities that already exist in the quantum field, waiting for your attention, your alignment, your signal. And when you align with them, what was once a potential starts to become an experience, from wave to form, from possibility to reality, from energy into matter. And this is where everything starts to feel more integrated, because you are no longer trying to force outcomes, you are learning how to align with them. And honestly, it's a beautiful and very practical process, not abstract, not vague, but something you can actually feel and apply in your life. This entire journey is a 12-week transformation process. Each session is around 90 minutes. It's very deep work. It's designed to create real internal changes and then external one. This month, I'm adding 3 bonus sessions instead of 12. So you are actually getting 12 weeks instead of 15 weeks. So if you feel that this resonates with you, just click the link down below and book your free 20-minute call with me, and we will see where you are now and whether this journey is right for you or not. And if it fits, believe me, it's going to change your financial reality forever. Hope you enjoyed this video. You can watch my other videos and you can find the links down below in the description. Click the link and book your free 20 minutes call with me, and I will be happy to help you rewriting your financial destiny.